Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today we're here with kind of a remake with a twist of a previous video, and I will explain everything as we go along. Now, a couple of weeks ago I launched a video which was a gel print which was using butterfly masks from PM Artist Studio. Here's the image. There you go, so you can see which one I was talking about. There will be a link to that one in the description box. Now, that was a very popular video. You loved the print, I loved the print, to the point that I actually framed the print and it's now hanging in my dining room. But I did have quite a few comments, which is fabulous, always welcome comments, and I had some messages from my subscribers not living in the USA. And a lot of them came up with some fair comments. They went and said, in this current climate, it was beyond their budget to order the masks from PM Artist Studio with international shipping. I get it. Believe me, I get it. When I order anything from another country, it's always a considered purchase. And what you don't know is I don't actually get my products for free. I pay for my own designs from PM Artist Studio. Granted, I get a designer rate for them, but I still pay for them. So I fully understand about import payments and all of that lot, and I get it. However, a few of you said, is there a way of doing it without using the masks? Well, we can try, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to try and get a different technique, should we say, but hopefully with a similar inspired visual end pull. I hope that all made sense. That didn't come out the way I was supposed to say it. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, yes, I'm going to use stamps and no masks this time. But don't forget, guys, just because I did butterflies, the technique would work with anything. So do you already have masks? Do you already have stencils you could have done the technique with? In this video, I'm going to be using foam stamps, which you could use any stamps you wish. And I'm actually going to use a clear stamp as well, just so you can see it's possible even if you don't have foam stamps. So basically, regard the previous video and this video as a techniques video, not necessarily as a product video. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. So, sorry, it's a bit wordy before we get started, and I'll try to keep it short for you. Things to remember. You have to work from the front of the print to the back, because when we pull this print, whatever is on the surface will be on the back of this print. So anything that goes down first will be the uppermost layer. Also, if I'm going to use, say I use white or cream, white or buttercream on the very first details, and then put black or a solid color over the back, it is likely to contaminate visually the image that was in white, because the black is likely to show through the white, unless it's a very opaque, say a chalk paint or something that could mask out the other color. They are things we need to remember. Also, in the first video, I sponged paint through the mask to take the mask off afterwards, and it gave me nice clean edges. This time I'm going to do the sponging with paint again, but it's going to be over stamped images, so I have to be a little careful about the color selection, because if it's a black outline, let's just grab one. So say it's a black outline of this monarch butterfly, then anything I stamp over the stamped image, the black is likely to mask it. However, if this was stamped in, say, buttermilk, and then I came in with magenta over the back of it, the final image is not going to be completely buttermilk. Wherever I've sponged, the magenta is likely to change the color to a pastel pink. You'll see as we go along, I'll try and not be too wordy about it, but there are things I want you to be aware of. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some black stamping of all of the different images on here. So let me introduce you to the stamps I'm likely to use. So this is Monarch Butterfly. and it comes in 2 sizes. This is Swallowtail Butterfly, comes in 2 sizes. This is Dragonfly. I'm not sure whether it comes in just the 1 size, to be honest. Then I've got some foam stamps, all of these from PM Artist Studio. There will be a link in the description box to PM Artist Studio, and I'm just going to do it to their foam stamp category. But these are from Michelle at the Creative Cove. What's that one called? That's called Beetle. I can't even say that. Cicada, I think that is. It looks like a grasshopper to me. I would say it's obviously Northern Bumblebee. And then this one is Beetle with Wings Out, and I usually could refer to that as a scarab beetle. So those are the ones we're going to use. And then I've got some more stamps that I'm going to use for background details. Oh, I forgot. And this is that cling stamp. Doing this technique, I would rather use a cling stamp than a red rubber stamp or a grey rubber stamp, because I can see through this. Okay, I mean, you can't see through these, but for some reason I always feel I want to see through these. So I'm going to start pretty much using black straight away, because remember, we're working backwards. So the fine detail at the front of the print is what's going to be visible now. Now there is one advantage to doing it this way, and that is if it doesn't stamp correctly, guess what? I just wipe it off and stamp it again. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to use my big butterfly first. And now you can normally see by the shine whether it's got a good coating of paint on it. I tend to press in the middle a little bit because that's where it's likely to not be. When you put it onto the gel plate, try not to slide it. So I like to lower it down, just give it a gentle press. Do not hammer it, it doesn't require it. I don't mind if they're not perfect impressions. I like that, that's okay. I'm going to do another one of those over here, I think. And I intend to have them going in all different directions. Right, there you go. Now this is going to go into a bowl of water. Now when I do gel printing, I have this. This is a kitty litter tray, and it sits on a stool next to me, and I just float my foam stamps in it face down. I do that because what happens is the water dissolves the acrylic paint and gravity takes it off the surface of the stamp. So I put them face down in the water, the paint will come off, and then once I rinse them under a tap or rinse them with a damp cloth or something, they clean up, and then I just let them air dry after I've dabbed them with a bit of kitchen paper. And I do that because if you don't and the paint dries on the stamp, it'll be a bit tricky using it for ink in the future, because what happens is the acrylic paint will seal it and cover up all the porous nature of that. So I'm going to come in. This is the large monarch. This is a new one for me. I only received this about 2 days ago. I didn't realise they had it in a larger size, or I would have bought it in the first place. Right, again. I'm literally just creating something that I am likely to use later on in maybe an art journal or something as a background. I don't know. I mean, all of my pieces of art evolve as I work on them. Okay, that one's going in the water. Now, there's a few new videos going to be coming out from me shortly. And what I've done is I'm going to go to the small swallowtail. What I've done is this month I've launched a couple of new foam stamp designs. So I'm going to throw them in as extra videos, but they're going to be more bonus videos. So just know to watch out for those. And they're just me introducing my products, because at the end of the day, design work and YouTube is how I earn my money, guys. So I apologize if you feel it's a bit of a product push, but it's my job. I'm not saying you have to buy the products. I'm just saying they're there for you if you wish. You have to watch sure don't forget the middle, because you know me, I do like to forget the middle, don't I? Now, I pulled all these foam stamps out. I don't know whether they're all going to go onto here or not. Right, let's see. Let's pull the dragonfly in because I can't possibly have something from me without a dragonfly on it. My paint is beginning to dry out a bit on me. We've had some terrible storms here in the UK. Like I went shopping this morning, walked to the shops and got absolutely soaked on the way back. And before anyone says, yes, I did have an umbrella. However, the problem was when you've got a rucksack and 2 bags of shopping, how do you hold an umbrella? Yeah, kinda don't. I do love this one. It's not just because I love dragonflies. I absolutely adore this dragonfly stamp. There you go, that's that one. Right, my paint is definitely beginning to dry out. I need to put a little bit more. Now, what's going to happen with the way this video is going to have to work is I'm going to have to stop between layers because things need to dry. Because if they're not dry, then I can't do the next piece on it. I'm going to bring in... Oh, I needed to do this one, didn't I? Maybe we don't have the beetles on here. Right. So I'm just tapping this down as I did any other stamp. That's how I find a home for it. I should have put the bigger ones on first, shouldn't I? Now with silicone stamps, they do tend to slide a bit, so just be a little bit cautious. But you can see I did get a stamp out of it. Let's put one down here as well. I'm going to put this one into the water as well, just because I haven't got time to clean it off just at the moment. So I'll put that to one side. Right, do I need anything else in here? I do really. I wanted to put some beetles in, but these all seem a bit big. I've got butterflies and dragonflies. Do I want beetles or not? I don't think I want a bumblebee. But it is the ugly bug ball, so let's put some of these in. See if I can fit the scarab beetle in, because he's one of my favourites. I've used him a lot of times. Let's see if I can fit him in here. Right, that's one of him. Right, excuse me while I just flip this around. I just want to try and give myself the best chance of getting something into the right gaps. I think I can get that in there. Now, I don't have to have this completely covered in bugs, but I would like there to be something on here. Right, pop that in there. I'm trying my darndest not to overlap. Right, I think I want to... Actually, I know what I can do. I'm going to use the beetle as if the beetle is watching all of this. Are you going to have enough my paint's dried up? So I think if I have the beetle sort of sneaking into areas, he'll be coming in from the edge. Because we're going to be doing more on this than just what we've got here. Oh, dip your finger in the paint, Griffiths. So I'm going to come in. Can you see? You can see. And I'm going to have him by there. Can I get that in there? I probably can. There. I'd like to get one more beetle in here. So I've put one in down here. Right, now the only disadvantage of putting everything into that bowl of water is I can't use it again unless I dry it. So I'm going to pull out one of the butterflies. I'm going to pull out this monarch butterfly and I'm going to pat it down onto paper. And the kitchen paper or kitchen towel, depends on how you know it in your country, will take the excess moisture off this, and I can do one more stamp because I quite like to get one in there if I can. Which I think I can if I'm a bit sneaky with its positioning. So if my head gets in the shot, guys, you know me, I'll do the best I can. Right, let's drop you in there. Oh, that was a good one. Right, back in the water with that. So now I need to have a few minutes, because that obviously needs cleaning up onto a bit of paper so it's not wasted. And I need to put just a very gentle, cool hairdryer over this, because I want to make sure this is completely dry, because if I try and do the next bit, it will pull the paint up. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. And we're back, and this is all dry now. I just wanted to clarify something. I use a small travel hairdryer on my gel plate. I set it to cool. Don't use a hot hairdryer or a heat tool on your gel plate. You will damage it. So I use a cool hairdryer only when I'm doing videos, to be honest with you, because normally I could go away and have a cup of tea or go to the bathroom or something, and this would be dry. So the next thing for me now is, remember, working from the front of the image to the back. We now have the outlines. We now need to color in our insects. So what I do is, I've got some pieces of packaging foam here, only thin packaging foam, and I cut it into little pieces. And I may need to cut those in half, to be honest. We'll see as we go along. And I'm cutting them into little squares, because these are the areas I've got to work in. So I need to get down into those, because remember, anything that goes outside the line will be visible. Now, what you can do is get a cotton wool bud or an earbud. And if you do go over, if you immediately clean up the edge of the print, you can do it that way. So let's see. Let's start straight away. I like blue, and I like blue in the last butterflies. So I'm just going to put a little drop of blue down. Clean his beak off. There you go. And I'm just going to take the very end. Actually, I do need half. Just snap it in half. I'm going to dab down and dab it back off again, so I don't have a huge amount. And then I'm just going to come in from behind and take my time to gently tap colour on. Now we're looking for quite a magical effect. That's what I'm looking for. I want something subtle. I want to be able to see stuff through the butterflies to the background for further detail, but I don't want the background to dominate the foreground. Now, I'm not worrying that the bodies of the butterflies and other insects are going to be the colour of the wings. If that bothered you, you could come in with a small paintbrush and paint all of the bodies in ahead of time and leave them be black or brown or whatever colour you wish them to be. So that's enough for that one. So as I said, immediately after I've done it, I take a little bit of a quick look, and if I've got any areas, if I'm picky about it, I could just come around the edge and clean off. Now, you don't need to do this bit. This is just me giving you options. Now, the black will be dry, so don't be too vigorous, because what you'll do is you'll end up lifting the black off. So like that one. I'd like to have one more of that colour somewhere else. Not necessarily that butterfly though. Let's do this beetle here. It was fairly easy to do, just a little bit of a tickle up on the edges of where the black line was. Now, I would say when you're looking at themes to do this technique with, there are so many different themes out. This looks fabulous with seashells. It looks great with fish. Birds do really well with this. Anything that's got a colour, I mean, good grief, it's an obvious for flowers. I mean, it's a great one for flowers, to be honest with you. So there you go. So I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to brayer that out a bit. And I'm going to put it onto, I've got this cleanup sheet I'm working on at the moment. So I'm just going to put it on there, because goodness knows, half my cleanup sheets end up as good as my prints, or better normally. And I'm only cleaning up because I don't want to contaminate the next colour. There you go. See, building up. Now, when we do the eventual pull, I'm going to be pulling it on wet strength tissue. This is quite a tricky technique to do if I'm trying to do it on gift wrap tissue. In fact, I'd say it's pretty much impossible, because leaving gift wrap tissue down and expecting to be able to pull it up later when it's fully dried, it's difficult, guys. It is difficult. Right, I'm going to come in with, this is olive green. Again, just a little bit of it. And again, just pulling in the sponge. Right. Where am I? I might actually do this beetle green, because we know these beetles come in various colours. Yes, this is a little bit of a time-consuming thing to do, but my opinion is it's art, and if it's art, it's worth taking the time to do it properly. So I think I'm going to do that butterfly there with this green as well. So if you're watching this and go, Ceri, I've got this now, that's fine. Fast forward. The chapters are always marked out in my description box. And not only that, if you tap on the video, you'll see the red line running along the bottom of the video. On that red line, you'll see little breaks in the line. Those are the chapters. Right, I'm going to leave that as that, because I might be able to put another colour into that body. Do I want this green anywhere else? I think I do. I'm going to try and get the very edge of it and try and do the body of the dragonfly, because he's not going to be easy to do. He's definitely one that's going to need a bit of a clean up on aisle 5. And if there's a bit of haloing around it, I don't think I mind that much, to be honest. I'm more about creating something that I like the look of. Hopefully all this spinning this around isn't causing anyone any problems. Now, I'm using a sponge. I like to use a sponge. Could you do this with a paintbrush? Heck yes, you could do this with a paintbrush. The thing you'll find with the paintbrush is you'll add a thicker layer of paint, which in itself can be either an advantage or a disadvantage. The advantage being you'll get more solid colour. The disadvantage is you will block out anything that's in the background, if that's what you were hoping to actually maintain. Let's do the swallowtail one here. Right, I think what I'm going to do, because I think by now even a beginner has got this, so I think I might stop the video, go ahead and do all of these, then get it dry and then come back to you. If you don't mind that, I'll be quite happy to do that. And that way we're not spending all of our time doing the same technique over and over and over again. I know some of you are very kind and saying you have no problem with that, but I'd like to reduce the upload time, if I was honest with you. And I'm back. And I'm not going to lie to you, that took a bit of time, but then again, what's the rush? It's art. Take your time, enjoy the process. For me, I'm up against the clock, obviously, because I'm filming this. So, but that's no reason to rush something. So I'm now going to come in and I want to put in the background details onto these. Yes, I do want to put the background details into these. I'm trying to think which colour to do what in. I think, okay, I got my, I want to say this is number 2 bubble wrap. Oh, is it number 2 bubble wrap? There you go. See, Darcy, I did write the numbers on the back and names on the back. I'm going to just take some copper. Love Pebeo paint for its metallics. Well, I quite like Pebeo paint full stop, to be honest with you. Right, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to load this up, and I'm kind of looking for areas where there isn't orange, because this might translate a little bit as orange, and although I'm not avoiding it completely, I would like not to have, I'd like some differentiation, not easily said, I don't mind it there because it's not touching it. I just want to put something into the background that's going to be a little bit of an interest that will be seen but not in your face seen. Right, that can go into the bowl of water, and this can go onto my cleanup sheet. Is looking gorgeous. Look at that. I love my cleanup sheets. You don't see my art journals, but most of these cleanup sheets end up as backgrounds in my art journals. You will see my art journals one day when I finish one, or I'm happy to show bits of it. I show snippets occasionally, but I must admit, for me, art journaling is a private practice. I need some time per week to not be in the public eye, should we call it, and by that I mean not on video. And I think it's really important when you're a creative person not to get into a cycle, that's beautiful, of just producing. You need to be part of a cycle where you do more than just manufacture art. You enjoy art, you explore your options. So what do I want to do next? I think I want to do this next. And I'm going to use it in ochre. Now, I always pronounce this wrong. I used to call it okra, which I believe is the vegetable, and it's ochre. You get it. And please don't give it to me phonetically. I appreciate it, but I never remember it. So I'm a man of a certain age. Right, I'm just going to come in with a little bit of this colour in the back. Oh, probably a little bit more than I expected. Just spray that out. This is Sketchy Circles, again, one of mine. Now, if you go into the description box below the video, and to find that, if you look under the title of the video, you'll see some words, and then you're very likely to see the word more, M-O-R-E. If you click on that word, it'll open up a description box. At the bottom of that description box is my signature and links to all of my products. Like it'll say foam stamp shop quick view. That will take you to my website, so you've got a visual catalogue of what I've done. If you click any of those images, it then goes directly through to PM Artist Studio website for further information and purchasing with no obligation. It's up to you. And there's also stencil shop quick view there, and then at the very bottom it says Ceri Griffiths Designs at PM Artist Studio. Click that one, it takes you to all of my designs on PM Artist Studio on their website. Right, I'm almost done with that. I think this needs to go in the water. This needs to come, and oh, this is a great colour. I love this colour with black and white. Not there's a lot of black and white left on this piece, but I do love this colour. Oh, I could have stamped it actually, couldn't I? I didn't think about that. I had the stamp on the go and I could have stamped some detail into this. But never mind. Right, I've only got one more thing I want to do, and then it's going to definitely be time. Oh, I'm loving how that's coming out. It's definitely going to be time for me to let all of this dry, because I cannot do the next stage, which is to pick the print up. If anything here is already wet, I want it to be completely dry, so that when I'm putting the paint onto the back of it, it doesn't pick up any of the paint, pull it off. Now, I'm going to use my infamous grid here. I thought I saw a hair on that then, maybe I didn't. A little bits of something stuck to it there. This is just draw liner, non-slip. I buy it in my inexpensive stores, which is where you'll probably find it as well. So I'm going to come in with white, because currently there's no white on this, which is never too much of a problem, I can assure you. And I'm going to come in, I'm just going to have, there's two sides. One is bumpy, one is flat. I use the flat side for a grid, and this gives grids, but it's a dotted grid. Just going to come in. I just want to put this in a reasonable amount of places, because I want to give it a layer of detailing in the background. Now, something to bear in mind is you may think, oh, I've got a lot of paint on here. Actually, you don't. If you look at the design, what you've got is a lot of thin layers of paint that are not overlapping each other. So I very rarely worry that it's not going to pick up. I mean, there are times, I don't control everything. I mean, no matter what I think I do, I don't control everything. I have to remember that at the end of the day, this is art, my form of art. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to cry over it. I'm going to literally rescue whatever is left on here. If it doesn't work out and go, right, that's that bit, and I'll do it for another day. Now, I'm going to just pop that up there a second. And I am going to bring in the cleanup sheet that you've been seeing flashing in and out, because I've got enough paint on this here to actually come in and add bits on here. So just bring in this, and I love my cleanup sheets, as I said. I will, once these are dry, I then cut them up and I use them as collage pieces, or I'll cut them into page sizes and put them onto put them onto pages in my art journal and use them as background pages. And you can see why, because I would never intentionally have made this. This just evolves. I think the word organic is probably too overused in our creative world, but this is truly an organic process. It evolves. It turns into what it is just by the process of making. Like, I'm going to not do anything more on that, because as far as I'm concerned, that's a beautiful background and that's how it's going to stay. So what do? I pull in this piece with a brand new piece of paper and start a new one. What I'm using here is newspaper offcut paper. Newsprint offcut paper. I'm having one of those. I'm on one of those weeks as far as speaking goes. It's extremely inexpensive, but what I would say is it is susceptible to moisture, in that if you get it too wet, it will tear. It'll become delicate. But as you can see, I do use it for cleanups. When I attach it to background pages, I usually use matte gel medium, although you can use a glue stick quite easily with this. Right, so that's the start of the next one. Now, this wants to dry. Well, not wants, it's going to dry. So I'm going to turn the video off, have a bit of a cleanup of my surface here. This is the color I'm going to pick it up with, because that's the color I find if I pick it up with white, it is too stark. If I pick it up with a cream or buttercream, or what's the other one called? Titan Buff or something, I like that sort of muted color. Now, there are other things you could do here. You could come in and maybe vignette the edges by getting a bit of a sponge with color and just putting little patches of shadow in. But I'm liking where I'm at. I'm going to stop and I'll be back in 2 seconds for you. And here we are, ready to go. Now, I would say when you do this part of the process, make sure everything, well, I'm an ex-chef, mise en place, everything in this place. I've got my tissue ready to go. Now I'm using wet strength tissue. You could use card, you could use heavy paper. I wouldn't do this with gift wrap tissue. You'll have a really hard time pulling it off, if you can get it off at all. So have something with I wouldn't use copier paper either. I'd probably use presentation paper if I really had to. Now I've got my 5x7 here because I don't want to put blobs of paint directly on here and then start brayering, because I may over brayer it trying to smooth those out. So that's why I use my 5x7, and I'm just using buttermilk. I mean, you can use any color you want. I've never done this. I'm putting quite a bit out because I can always put it back into the pot. I've never used black to do this process. I think there's nothing wrong with using black paint to lift with. You just have to be a bit thoughtful about what's going to be seen on the plate with black. Like, all of the outlines would be non-existent, so I'd have to outline in white. Do you see what I mean? You need to have a bit more thought about your process. Could I pull it onto black paper? Yes, you could pull it onto black paper, and if you wanted to keep the black paper visible, I would pull it with something like a matte gel medium, which would be your pull layer. Right, to make sure you've got a reasonable coat of this, what you're trying to do is make sure that the paint's gone down into all of the layers underneath. But you don't want it too thick, you're not going to get it off. So I'm just going to come in, fingers crossed for this, so that I can lay this down without messing it up. Just get that off there a second. Right, so we're going to have creases in this one. Sometimes that happens. It happens more often than not when it comes to laying tissue down, because there are so many elements like the air and the wind, and if you've got a window open, if you've got air conditioning, stuff like that. So just putting that down. Now I am working over the top of the creases, but what will happen is when I pull this up, all these creases will become lines. To me, that's fine. That will just give it a whole different feel. I'm just going to get that sorted out off there. As I said, starting another clean off sheet, never a problem. Oh, stuck to that one quite well. I think that's another reason why I like that. Like this paint, Art Deco Art Buttermilk for lifting. It does tend to grip the paint that's on the gel plate. Right, put that to one side. So now I've got this on here. Now, I am using my hand, however, I do have one of these, which is a Baron. Now, Barons were originally created for, I believe, the ink printing process, where you would use it to press the paper down onto a printing surface. And then, of course, we adopted it in the paint world, and we certainly adopted it in the gel printing world. And I like using it because I'm 66 almost, and I do have some joint issues and stuff like that. I find if I'm pressing too often, I sometimes get pain here, but with this, there's a bit of weight to this, and it fits my hand nicely, and it really helps press down without putting force on. I'm just letting the weight of the Baron, that's B-A-R-E-N, I believe it's spelled, to go down. This one was made, each of them is a unique piece of art, and it was made by someone called Anthony Cody at Cody Woodcrafts on Etsy in the USA. He does some wonderful turned wood, like he's done bowls and vases and other pieces. I think he's actually doing wizard wands at the moment as well. So very, very talented man. So just come and press that down. Now, this is going to have to sit. I usually leave it for about an hour. You could leave it overnight. Very, very often people will do that. I know that Patricia from PM Artist Studio will often leave her prints overnight to fully stick to the plate. It's doable. It definitely gives you good results, although I'm not that patient. I know that within an hour this is going to be dry enough. I'm just working down into any of those cracks and creases. So I'm about to go off and take an hour out. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I've got dishes to do as well. That's another thing I do while I'm waiting around. So I will be back and we will pull this all together. I'm going to take this out of the way because that'll be gone when I come back. This will be by there and we'll come back. See you in two, guys. And I'm back. And it's been about just a little bit over an hour. Being the domestic god that I am, I have done the dishes and I've had a cup of coffee and I even read my book for a little bit. Okay, this feels warm, as in it feels room temperature. Normally as an indicator, if something feels really cold, it usually means one or two things. Number one, your paint is still wet, or number two, it's just very cold in your house. So you be the judge of that. So we're going to risk this. We're going to try and take this off now. With any gel print project whatsoever, it's hit and miss, you never know. And that's where the magic comes in from gel printing. You never know what you're going to get until you pull the paper off. Sometimes paper tears. If the paper tears, try and rescue the biggest pieces you can. You can always use those or mount those on something else and make a smaller project, which I actually did in a previous video. So the most likely places for things to tear are around the edges. So what I normally do is I normally come in and I lift the edges. That's my first act. Now, normally with a clean gel plate, as this is a clean gel plate, you will find there is no build-up paint on the edges of your gel plate. I always clean my gel plates. The only time I leave anything is if there's just a little tiny, maybe the odd line, or when I pull this up where the creases are, there's probably going to be little lines or maybe a shadow or something. I never allow a big ridge of paint to develop around the edge of my plate, because that's just, although it looks fabulous, if you can pull it off the plate, that's the perfect place for it to tear. So I've done all the edges, and now I just slowly work my way, and I don't tend to pull in one place. I work my, oh, that looks fabulous already. I work up and down, because if you pull in one place, you're likely to tear it at that place. Oh, I'm liking where this is going already. Now, see these little bits left on the plate? That's what I mean. I wouldn't necessarily clean that plate. I don't mind the creases in this. They give another sort of distress, antique, vintage, that sort of look to the image. I mean, granted, if it came off perfectly and didn't have these pieces or I got creases in it, it would look a lot better, but actually I don't mind the look it's got. And all the way off, and did we make the magic work? I think we did, people. So there you go, guys. For those who were saying, can it be done without using masks? Yes, it can. Can it be done without using any masks? Yes, it can. I've used foam stamps. Can it be made without foam stamps? Yes, it can. Because you know, that one and that one are actually clear gel stamps. So just use what you've got, guys. It's more about the technique. And if I have anything that's going to throw you a bit of a struggle, it is, remember, the black went down first. So when you pull the print, the black is the thing that's closest to you. You don't need to sponge. You could paint. You could leave it as it is. You don't need to clean up the edges of the butterflies. You could put them in a little halo of colour. There are so many things you can do, but I really enjoy the challenge of doing a one-pull print. And yes, it takes some time. Yes, it takes some patience to get it all laid out on the plate and to do the little bits and all the drying time in between. But I think that's a fabulous way to spend an hour or so just enjoying what you do. So there you go. I'm loving that. Absolutely loving that. So thanks for your patience, guys. I will see you in the next video, which is probably going to be, I should imagine, a couple of launch videos, because as I said, I had new products out. So I'll try and get those thrown in the next couple of days. So you know what? I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's C-E-R-I the Crafter. Until next time. Goodbye now.